Hi, I'm Joseph Gonzalez with the Morris Comic Book Stash, and this is...
Sophia Blanchard.
And we are going to be reviewing the Venom movie today, which you have a chance to win this issue. All you got to do is leave a comment, subscribe, and share the video. Now, let's get down to it. If you guys have not seen the Venom movie, you're going to want to pause this video, go see it, then come back and watch this, because there is spoilers in this video. So, first off, what we're going to talk about is basically the opener. To me, it felt like it took a little too long to get into
to
Venom.
Build up.
To build up into how Venom got to the planet and where Eddie ended up mixing with the symbiote.
Yes.
So, I think my favorite part of the movie after that was when he actually learned about the symbiote, and right up to the point where he was getting tested for everything. And he was running out of the Life Foundation because he was freaking out, didn't know what the hell was going on. That's where the movie really picked up. I want to say it took about a good 20 minutes for it to actually
good 25 minutes. I think that it was nice that they kind of set up the story for Eddie Brock, and how he actually, had the reporting job and whatnot, but it did take a while. But once they did, it was definitely worth it. So,
and for those of you that might not know, this movie is based off of the Lethal Protector run of Venom's standalone issue. I believe it was his first appearance standalone issue. And it does take parts from the series of the Planet of the Symbiotes, which, as everyone knows, that's where Venom's from. And I guess moving along to the next stint was when the actual Venom suit came out for the first time. That blew me away. I'm such a huge Venom fan. I've been a fan of him since I was a kid. The way they portrayed him, just the way he opened up and consumed Eddie's body to just make his appearance, I thought was just awesome. I couldn't have been happier. I had the biggest geek smile on my face that day.
Same. Did it just freeze? Oh, no, it did not.
All
okay.
Right. Well.
So, never mind that. But, yeah, when he first, showed the outfit in the movie, it definitely took me away, too, just because, the graphics were fantastic, and you could see, the veins pulsating with Venom, so it's not just an outfit. They show how it, overtook Eddie, for sure. It definitely was awesome.
The only disappointment I had with the movie was I didn't get to see, the classic Venom spider logo on his body anywhere. But I know for that to have happened, he would have had to have at some point mixed with Spider-Man, which, as we know, Tom Hardy and Tom Holland have not had the chance to do a crossover for the movie yet.
That'll be awesome if they do, though. Can you imagine that?
Yes, I'd be super
insane.
excited. And for those of you that aren't aware, they actually showed, for Avengers 4, Black Suit Spider-Man. So we may be getting where Venom mixes up with Spider-Man for a short amount of time to get that logo.
Who knows? The new Spider-Man, Far From Home, might feature Venom or something that kind of involves Venom. So that'll be kind of fun to look forward to when that movie comes out as well.
Yes, and I know he was confirmed for the MCU, which is why they dropped Venom down from a rated R to a PG-13 rating, which I'm pretty excited because I think I figured out how they're going to do that. And if any of you have seen the trailers for the animated Spider film, I think it's
Into the Multiverse?
Into the Multiverse, or Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
Basically, if you remember, for those of you that have seen the movie, you'll remember towards the end, where we'll jump back into that a little bit. We're jumping a little too far ahead, actually. I think the next thing we should go over was the Bride of Venom made an appearance in the movie. Which, for those of you that don't know too much about her, she was actually Eddie Brock's wife in the Amazing Spider-Man series when Venom first made an appearance. But basically, she was Venom's actual wife, which also is portrayed by the character, I forget her name.
Michelle Williams. Yep.
In the movie. She played Venom's actual. Well, obviously they didn't get married. They never made it to the point where they got married.
Fiance.
Yeah, she played his
Annie.
fiance, Annie. And she did. I thought she did pretty good job. I love the part though when she shows up and her and Eddie are having that bit of a back and forth where she bites dude off. She's like, I just bit that guy's head off. I know it's a bit of a thing. I did it too.
I think that their chemistry definitely worked out too. The actors did great together. And the fact that she was still supportive of him, because I was kind of shocked in the beginning when she broke up with him, essentially, and he was just like at rock bottom, and that's what kind of led him to like taking down
basically went down that being a loser
the life
type
foundation
street.
Yeah, and that's even funnier because he was a loser or became a loser, and Venom even states he's a loser on his planet. So
Venom's like, I'm kind of like you, where I come from. I'm a bit of a loser, like you.
Yep. So I think that was really nice, just because both actors did great together, and I feel like, that boyfriend of hers, the doctor, isn't gonna last in the next movie. They've got to get back together.
Yeah,
He was helpful, but I'd rather see them together.
Well, one of the reasons that the Venom symbiote attached to her in the first place was Eddie found out she had cancer, and Venom stated he could heal her and remove her cancer. So he let off a part of him and slowly bonded with her for a short amount of time to cure her cancer. That's actually how the Bride of Venom came to be. Yeah.
I didn't read
that. It was
that
a
one.
love story brought about by sickness.
Yep. And death.
Yes. Lots of
death. Yep.
And I think, though, one of my favorite fight scenes in there was when he was beating the shit out of all the cops.
Yes.
I thought that was awesome. He was throwing them all over the place, ripping people's arms off, punching people all over the place. He even bit a tear gas grenade and just like was like, yeah, that's fun. What else you got?
The movie, like, another thing too, Mr. Drake, the bad guy, at least, Riot.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that actor did good. I just find it kind of sucky that they had to like make him transform so late in the movie. Because I figured that he would have already had a symbiote connection early on until they showed later on that wasn't
Well, remember,
the case.
they showed that you got to be genetically compatible. And I'm assuming when Riot was jumping from host to host, for the amount of time that he had to be somewhat compatible with each host that he jumped in or knew how to tell his compatibility with them.
Yep.
So, because you got to remember, it took almost 6 to 7 months for Riot to make it to America from where he was.
Mm-hmm.
He had to travel across country and everything and find his way to where...
Was it Malaysia?
Yeah, I think they were in Malaysia. Yeah, it was Malaysia or something like that. It was somewhere about there.
Along those lines of the world.
Yeah.
Really far.
Yeah, anyways, it took him 6 months to get back. And in that time frame, obviously... He had to have figured out who was genetically compatible with him, so he had to have found a way to tell. That's my only thing. Now, jumping on to the next thing, the fight between Venom and Riot. I personally thought it was awesome. And I think there's a piece of him left somewhere on Earth that ends up reproducing and making the Carnage symbiote. Because, in all honesty, I don't quite see how they would have pulled off, because originally Carnage is a offspring of Venom.
Yeah.
But there's no real way that
could happen.
That he was able to let off an offspring. But I think maybe somehow a piece of Riot might have survived, because if you look at the abilities Riot had during the fight between him and Venom.
That's very much like Carnage.
Yeah, a lot of his abilities were similar. He was able to form blades out of his hands, shoot spikes that, match the density of steel. So I think, in all honesty, he's going to end up being an officer. They're going to change things up. And obviously they do change things up here and there to make things more cinematic for the movies from the books. Yep. So I think it's going to be a bit of a change up, and they're going to end up making him an offspring of Riot.
I think so. They might, or they'll somehow pair it. When they were intertwined in the fight, and a part of Venom could have
Yeah.
somehow latched off.
Well, just like there was a, and if you noticed, in the fight scenes where they were, just looking at each other, remember how Venom's veins were white?
Yep.
Riot's were red. So that's what
Yep.
makes me think he's going to be a offspring of Riot instead of Venom. But then again, it's a fan theory going on right now, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I don't quite see how it's going to happen. There was a fan theory that supposedly, again, we're going on and on. The next part was where the secret scene came out, the pre-credit scene,
The
as
cookie.
people call it. Yeah.
And
Yeah, the sweet treats, as we like to call them.
And what was it?
It was
Sweet.
pretty good. Oh God. We're going to get into that some more in a minute. Well, basically, for those of you that know, the pre-credit scene, there's two of them. There's actually three of them, to be honest with you. Not too many people realize that there's three. There's the one where Eddie is talking with Annie, and she doesn't realize that Venom's still in his body. I love that scene, though, where he attacks the guy in the freaking liquor store, and he goes, he just pops up, he's like, bad guy? Yeah, that's a bad guy. Okay. And then they just turn in, the Venom symbiote comes out, and he just looks at the guy and he goes, if I ever see you around here again, I'm going to bite off both of your arms, both of your legs, and your face right off your head. You're going to be rolling down the street like a turd in the wind. For those of you that don't know, that line is actually in the Lethal Protector run. And we happen to have that issue too. Now, one of the best things about that was right there at the end, the guy goes, who are you? And then, Venom did the whole half-face thing where him and Eddie's face were both, kind of split in half, and they both did the whole we are Venom spiel. And that's one of my favorite things, because they were always like a team thing, but they weren't quite one entity themselves. They were always aware of each other's presence. So that's where the whole we thing.
They need each other to keep each other alive at this point.
Exactly.
Eddie was fine before this, but thanks to what happened, they kind of need each other.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the movie shows that connection.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Venom is a superhero. I've had lots of friends say, who's Venom? That don't follow up with comic books. I can't talk. And they're like, oh, is he a superhero? And I'm like, no.
And to be honest with you, he's not a villain either. He was originally designed to be a counterpart to Spider-Man, but they saw more potential for him as an anti-hero, which as many of you may not know, an anti-hero is basically a superhero, quote-unquote, that doesn't mind the bloodshed, doesn't mind taking your life to preserve the greater good. Where, Batman won't kill Venom, or...
They make more of a mess,
Great comparison.
Too.
Batman and the Red Hood. Batman tries to keep things more... keeping everyone alive, but making sure that they're doing their justice, where, the Red Hood, hey... you killed that family, I'm going to blow your brains out.
Yep.
That
Batman just puts you into prison.
Yeah, kind of like the same thing with Spider-Man, Venom.
Yep.
Same concept. Which is kind of funny because they're both kind of created from one another.
True.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't realize I made that comparison that way. But anyways, carrying on. Now we're on to the second secret scene where, as you may know, he walked into the prison and he was interviewing none other than Cletus Cassidy. And if you guys don't know, he was writing a message in his own blood saying, welcome Eddie, showing that real psychotic, serial killer vibe was basically what I got off of it.
Yep. And
the only thing I didn't like was the red wig.
Okay, for anybody who is younger and watches this and doesn't know who that actor was, it's Woody Harrelson. And, he doesn't actually have hair. He was wearing a wig.
And notice he did have a gray facial beard.
It works, but it was not what we expected. I feel like he could have done without the wig. Or of sorts, I don't know. Something.
And see, the whole thing is that I think they could have done without the wig, personally, because as soon as he said this line, that's a quote from him, when I get out of here, there's going to be Carnage, we would have known he was Carnage right there and then, because the rumor was out. As soon as he said that, we would have been like, ah!
and if you didn't know that that's Carnage, then you gotta read a comic, or that's your fault, you're missing out, because Carnage is a badass as well.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that the hair, like, we all know that Carnage, Cletus, he has red hair.
Yeah, he's a ginger, we know this, but the
that
wig
was like a wig that you could get at Spirit Halloween for $10.
Yeah, and we know Sony Pictures wanted there basically to be no doubt that that's who we were seeing, that's who the next, character is and everything. But I think the whole line they gave us, there's going to be Carnage, pretty much summed it up. They didn't have to do the red wig.
It was like slapping it on the table even after we saw it. It was like, oh, here you go. This is Carnage. In case you weren't aware of the red hair, we have to say the name. So, yeah.
So, yeah. Next thing, going back to how they're going to bring Venom into the MCU. We personally think it's going to be the Into the Spider-Verse movie with Miles Morales, the animated film. Because if you think about it, they're doing a whole thing where they're bringing a bunch of other, like, Spider-Man characters and everything into, all from other worlds into one world. So maybe that's how Venom gets into the MCU with the Avengers and all that. He gets pulled from that world into this one and then accidentally gets sent to back to the wrong one. I think that's how it could happen.
Who knows? I think that that's possible. But, with the way Marvel is, they just love to make you think something's going to happen and then don't.
Yeah, and then we will be doing a video here soon about characters we hope to see and characters that were just confirmed for the next Avengers film. We actually hope to... I personally hope there's going to be a Hulk versus Wolverine scene. Supposedly there's been something in there, but we'll get more into that in our next video.
Or Professor Hulk. By chance. Come on, his outfit.
True.
His outfit.
True, I'll give you that. But like I said, we'll get into that more in the next video, because this video is all about Venom. But all in all, I personally am going to give this movie, hands down, a 10 out of 10. I loved everything about it, for the most part. There was only... like I said, one or two things that I had a problem with. Like I said, the beginning dragged down a little bit for my taste. And the fight scene with Riot, I wish that would have lasted a little longer. That's and Cletus Cassidy's wig. That's
the wig.
And I've noticed everybody seems to have a problem with that wig.
if Sony and Marvel somehow actually pay attention to the fact that everybody hates that wig, they need to fix it before they actually
or film. Maybe they make it to where they just shave his head in the next film.
Please.
To correct it. I would be okay with that. I don't necessarily need him to have red hair, because that wig looked bad.
You'll still be happy without the red hair.
Exactly.
It was so bad.
But in all honesty, like I said, I'm giving this movie hands down 10 out of 10. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to do a 10 out of 10 as well, but with some of the, choices they made, I've got to do a 9.5 just as a final, but I do love Venom. He's one of my favorites, so
all right,
it's up there.
Like I said, if you guys want a chance to win one of these Venom exclusive books from the movie, all you got to do is leave a comment, relate it to the movie, share the video, and subscribe. Thanks. Have a good day.